I'd like to call to order the Utility Service Board for the City of Lawrence on this, the 28th day of May, 2019. All members are present, so we do have a quorum, and the minutes were sent to you by email for your review. I would entertain a motion that we approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The minutes are approved. Payment of claims. The claims were sent to you for your review. I entertain a motion that we approve the claims.
I'd move we approve the claims.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any discussions regarding the claims?
Scotty, could you enlighten us a little bit, or maybe for some of the board members that maybe didn't have background? The claims were large, and it was all mostly one to finalize payment on the water meter replacement program. You want to?
Yes, that was a financing arrangement that was done when we did the project back in 2012, which funded the completion of the change out to a total drive-by meter reading system. So we've been talking about doing this for some time, and then just recently checked with Jason. We can save over $400,000 in interest costs by retiring this loan now, which we can then pump right back into our capital improvements program.
Okay.
So we thought it would be best to just go ahead and retire that debt.
And the meter change-out program was to assist in easier reading the meters, but also to get rid of some older meters that maybe were slow.
Correct. Yeah, it upgraded as the large meters as well as the regular residential meters. Just put everything on drive-by, and allowed us to go down to one meter reader for the entire city.
That's great.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor of payment of the claims, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is approved. Report of the Utility Superintendent.
Okay, so a few things here. So you'll notice we have on the agenda to get approval for the soil borings. So these are about 12 soil borings of varying depths that we're going to be performing on our Phase 2 water system improvement project. So basically out there at the Fort Harrison Water Plant, and I believe at one or two out at Indian Lake Water Plant. And that's just so we can gather that soil analysis for compaction and that kind of stuff. So they're routine, but we need to get them done. We're at that point in the design where they need that information. So then the other thing is I sent everybody out you'll see there's a copy of a field technical memo, FTM 017. So at the next meeting, I'm hoping we didn't have the paperwork ready for tonight, but we'll be coming to you for a change order, total change order cost of $21,571 to complete some additional stormwater work and concrete work out at the Rich Art Water Plant, which is part of getting everything finished up. The concrete work was required during our technical qualified person review of our improvement location permit with respect to wellhead protection, so that concrete pad was a requirement of our ILP. And then the stormwater is to correct issues we've had out there since we've been working the site, and we've discovered we need to add a length of pipe and a couple inlets.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Scott?
I do want to mention too, so our easement acquisition on our water main projects is going very well. I had actually a meeting with Shrewsbury here just not too long ago, and so as you can see, they're making very good progress on getting easements. Actually, I think we'll be meeting maybe later this week or early next week, and I'll get a full update on where they're at, but we may have all the easements we need now for the part at 5400 Carroll Road, so we'll be pushing forward on that one. Franklin Road Water Main Project, we're meeting, I think, Monday. Next Monday to go over that and get that ready to go out to bid. Shaylin Way, we're meeting actually tomorrow to move forward on that project. And then we also have our upcoming meeting with our Okra liaison to go over, they review our application and point out areas where maybe we could shore things up or improve things to get a better score on our application process. So we'll be meeting on that. Keep that one moving forward. And then, so the last thing I want to mention is we did have a major failure of lift station 19 last night. So I got the call about midnight. I think the guys had been out already since about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And so we, at this point, still don't know exactly what failed inside the lift station, but it filled up the wet well and at the same time filled up the dry pit. And it filled up the dry pit and fried the electronics. So we're now in a full bypass mode. We actually had to do a trench across German Church Road in order to get the hose across the road. We had to lay out about 2,000 feet of bypass hose. And so we've been very busy today. But situation's under control, but we're gonna be in bypass pump mode for a while. And so we'll be meeting actually with the lift station 19 engineer and the project superintendent from EDCO to see how we move forward on that project, which should be starting here about the middle of June.
So, Scott, does that mean that our customers may see an interruption in service of some kind?
No, we had a small spill on a manhole at 56th Street, but there was no backups into homes or anything like that, so, and service was not interrupted.
Do we have an overflow into the stream or
Yeah, it overflowed and went down to Indian Creek, yes.
portable overflow we have to report?
Yeah, it was reported and it's already been cleaned up.
Okay.
Unfortunate, but that's why we need to replace that lift station.
Pretty strong signal.
Yeah. But that is all I have.
Okay. Anything further? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, I do not believe we have any unfinished business. Under new business, we have had a request for approval for an account adjustment for rallies at 10545 Pendleton Pike due to leaks and internal plumbing issues. Is there someone here to speak on that issue?
Yes.
All right, please come forward.
Good evening.
I would ask you to state your name and your relationship with rallies.
Absolutely. My name is Davita Nellums, and I'm a franchisee with Rallies. I'm responsible for the location at 10545 Pendleton Pike. And I have requested an audience with all of you today to ask for your help, quite frankly. Just to give you a little bit of background, if you will indulge me. A little tired from the weekend, Memorial Day. I'm a veteran, so always pretty busy weekend for us. But at any rate, I'm not from Indianapolis initially or originally. I came here to do business with the Rallies. And that was in 2016. So 2016, Checkers Corporation, which owns Rallies, so Rallies Checkers Corporation, decided to refranchise this market. And what that means is they plan to sell some of their corporate-owned restaurants. Obviously, they didn't choose the best performing restaurants to sell in their portfolio. So we took over the location at 10545 Pendleton Pike at that time. So fast forward a little bit to 2017. So I'm going to take you a little bit outside of the information that I shared with the utility board because I don't have access to those accounts. In 2017, we had a similar incident. And I just want to frame it for you, give you a little bit of history and background as to why I am here petitioning before you today. At any rate, in 2017, I would say in the August, September timeframe, we had a situation where we also had an excessive water bill. It was to the tune of a total of about $7,000. That will not register under our account because at the time, Checkers Corporation still owned that account. We paid that back. Once the account transferred over to us, what you can see before you are 2 incidents. And so you might say, well, lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. 3 times for us. This is the 3rd incident that we've had very excessive water bills. And the last incident was in 2018, at the end of the year, to the tune of about $4,000. We are now at about $10,000 currently in water bills just over the past few months. And let me tell you, the excessive amount of water, I believe it's millions of gallons of water. Obviously, if we had a water intrusion, that would be an obvious indication that there was a problem. That is not the case. For those of you who are not familiar with Rally's, I realize we're not the biggest brand out there, not a household name like McDonald's. We're a small franchise and owned by small business. What we have is a situation, and many of you may not know, these locations are mobile units. They are not brick-built units. So underneath that is something called a trap primer. Those of you who are familiar with restaurants, trap is to ensure that grease is not getting into the sewer system. A trap primer is meant for locations. For example, if we operated somewhere on Martha's Vineyard, something seasonal, you would have a trap primer for those months that you were closed to keep your trap wet, so to speak, so that it was operating properly. These buildings were designed with trap primers. Unfortunately, we don't need trap primers because we operate throughout the year. We are not a seasonal business. At any rate, they are there whether you need them or not because the building is a modular building built in Florida and brought to whatever location you decide to open. At any rate, over the time and over the years, valves on these trap primers fail without any indication to the folks occupying the building because there's no water intrusion whatsoever, which means, quite frankly, we cannot file a claim against our insurance because there's no damage, right? The water is just flowing, kind of free flow. However, it's not water that we use per se. It is not water that was used to wash any dishes. It was not water that was used to wash our hands or anything of that nature. That water simply entered the building and exited the building through those trap primers, unbeknownst to us, with valve failures. When this occurred in December timeframe, November, December timeframe of last year, we brought in plumbers as soon as we knew it. And I mean, I guess you can imagine, we have a bill, just put it in perspective for you. Our bill's typically $200-300 a month. It's not a big water bill. You open up your bill and you look and you see a $3,000 water bill. That kind of sets you back on your heels, I think. Anybody might, have that reaction to it when you see it. So you think, I've got to get a plumber out here, see what's going on. Plumber says we need a leak detection because it's obvious, not an obvious leak. We bring out the leak detection folks. They find what they think is the leak. We have the plumbers repair. We think we're done with this. Seal off all these trap primers in the building. Problem goes away. Well, fast forward a couple of months, bill went down, back to normal, maybe a month or two, right back up. Okay, what's going on? Get the folks back out. We asked the plumber, hey, we thought you cut all these things off. Well, you got to get the leak detection folks back out. Okay, did that. Same thing, another trap primer somewhere in this building. So we think we have them all at this point. We expect the bill to go down. So when we open up another $3,000, well, what is going on here? Leak detection folks back out. Now it's an underground leak at a hydrant, dumpster area. Again, something that no one would ever even know about. We get them out, we shut that down. Our bill is now back down to the couple $100 that we expect per month. So I'm asking for your help. I am asking for an adjustment because if you add all those bills up, $7,000 the first time, $4,000 the second time, $10,000 this time. We have paid water bills for a number of years based on our normal usage. Right? And the reality is, you might say, well, you got franchise. I mean, just like my team, just like team members, they think, you know, you are, you know, rich, and it's just a normal expense, that the $10,000 is not a hardship. But quite frankly, it is. In order to pay those bills, other expenses were deferred, quite frankly. And just again, to put it in perspective, that $10,000 just this time represents about 3 months of profit for that location. It is not a small amount of money for us. So my petition to you is for an adjustment. I'm not asking that the slate be wiped clean, but I'm asking for some type of reasonable adjustment. We want to pay our fair share. We came to Lawrence because we felt like the growth was in this direction. For those of you who don't know, there are 2 locations for Rally's on Pendleton Pike. There's one inside the Beltway. I guess I went to school on the East Coast. We call those loops beltways. And one of the indications, again, not being from Indianapolis, that, you know, this would be a good area for us, was looking at the growth trends and, quite frankly, what was happening in the marketplace. The fact that Menards moved out of that location to the other side of the Beltway was an indication that the business is moving this way. Now, has it moved all the way? We have not seen it, but we have seen indications. So again, this is a hardship for us. You know, you're talking in excess of $20,000, $21,000 here. It is just not sustainable for us, and quite frankly, is a very major hardship for us. So again, that's our request to the board. And I appreciate your time and letting us address.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Board members, do you have questions or comments? If you want to just wait, we may have some questions for you.
Do you believe you have the problems all addressed and solved now?
We believe we do. We have every time, but we really believe we do. We've had the guys scour the building for these trap crimes. Sadly, we don't have a drawing to give us an indication of where they all are. So we really do think we've gotten it this time.
And what's the status of payments of these bills?
We still owe about 4,000 of it.
So you've paid up?
We have paid because we don't want our water turned off. I mean, this meeting was probably a month after we requested it, and those shut-off notices come long before that. We cannot operate without water. But as I mentioned, the fact that we paid them doesn't mean that we can afford it. We've deferred some other payments of other business expenses in order to do that.
Any other questions or?
I have a question for Scott. I don't know if it's helpful. Do we have drawings that might be helpful?
We can look, but I would say I doubt it. There might be a site plan in the old DPW files from back when the permits were originally issued, but given the age of that rallies, it probably would be very hard to turn up something, but I will look.
Yeah, I believe building 2003, 2002, some that time frame.
Yeah, that's pretty old, but
It is.
I will look.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything further? Any of the board members? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I've not asked for a motion, so if there's no motion forthcoming, then we will simply take no action at this point.
Well, I'm not without empathy for the needs of this situation. But it's a commercial account, and I don't know that we've ever forgiven a commercial account. We have done some small individual household things periodically. I just hate to start a precedent of forgiving a commercial account, so I'll make a motion to deny this request.
I'll have to second that.
Been moved and seconded that we deny the request. Is there any further discussion?
I guess the thing that I would want to do, of course, we want to always encourage businesses to locate in Lawrence. That's always a positive sign for the community. I don't know if denial without considering a possible payment plan in addition to your monthly payments that could be set up so that we could get the amount that is in the rear paid. I'm not sure if that's precedent setting, but I would like to hear if that could be an option.
Okay.
And if so, maybe you could kind of enlighten us what you might be able to pay in addition to your normal monthly bill to pay down that amount that you are currently in the rear or owe.
I lean toward Terry's resolution because she's done all the work. We have all the bills. She's been, able to pay up to this point. I know that that's a burden on a small business, but I do appreciate having the business in Lawrence. So I'm more leaning toward us coming up with a solution instead of just a denial.
I don't have any problem with an extended payment plan.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I mean,
we've done that with many accounts in the past to allow for some room on cash flow and so forth. I think
the
we could do
problem,
that pretty easily, I think. But total, just
Yeah.
to forgive, I think that's a bad precedent to set for all the other.
But sir, that's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking for forgiveness of the debt.
Okay,
and the reason for that is because if we do it for you, the next person will want it for them, and somebody else will want it, and it'll just cause a chain reaction.
I understand that as well, but I would think that there are mitigating and extenuating circumstances that, from time to time, it might warrant some intervention by the board or a small business. Just to kind of, outright, without, understanding the challenges that may be going on with that business. I understand you don't want to set a precedent, but you certainly have the wherewithal to determine where there is a need and where there is not. Those situations arise.
I'd be supportive of a motion to be receptive to an extended payment plan without any penalties.
Okay, well, let's talk about that, what that looks like.
Do that, but that's separate from her request, or her request, as I understand it, is for
An adjustment.
just forgive some of the bill.
Okay.
And that's my motion, is to not do that.
What do you feel comfortable paying on top of your normal monthly payment?
We could keep it around, 500 in total. That would be something we could do.
Okay.
So what you're saying is your normal bill is 300
Yeah, it's somewhere in the area of $200 to $300.
approximately, so you're saying an additional 200 a month until,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Scott?
Kathy, do,
We do have, right now, there's $470.14 in current charges. And then the arrears that are out 31 to 60 days are $3,955.02. So total right now in arrears is $4,425.16.
Which was the outstanding balance that I mentioned. We've paid upwards of $6,000.
Kathy, but
Yeah. Yeah, Kathy definitely has that.
So in estimation, we could have this wrapped up in about 6 months, approximately, give or take.
Yes.
And just as a suggestion, maybe going forward, you could have some sort of maintenance every 6 months at quarterly to address these unknown factors, so we're not here again. I don't know if that's your plan, but it may be helpful.
I'm not sure, what to look for. When you ask somebody to come out, you have to kind of give them an indication of, what they're looking for. Because, that $10,000 does not even include all of the payments. to have
Service
this
charges,
fixed.
I see those.
Yes. And, when they come out and they're just looking, it's hours.
Kathy, you were
of
going to
just
say?
trying to figure out what's going
Okay.
on.
I did want to mention that we had no discrepancy with the meter, so we were in agreement that we changed the meter. So she now has the current applications that she can set alerts
Okay.
through the Beacon software and be
Yes.
notified of any leaks that are going on in that
I was
property.
just gonna mention
Before
that.
she
And we
did.
thought we had that in December, if you
Yeah.
recall, yes? And so this should never have happened again, because we were told the meter had been changed and we would have these alerts and so on and so forth.
So that meter was changed. We couldn't change a meter without knowing that the leaks were repaired and there was no discrepancy within the meter. So the meter was accurate, so we went ahead and changed that meter. So she does have the current updated application that she can set alerts. So hopefully that will help them in the long run. And
But I-
we can waive, oh, no, I'm sorry. She has had penalties the past couple months of pretty high penalties. So I would also, if you wanted to entertain waiving those two
Yes.
last penalties and setting it up on her current bill plus $200 a month until that past due amount's paid with, I mean, we can absolutely set that up for her.
I would support
Chairman, I
that.
make a motion, I changed my motion.
I did the motion.
Oh,
You did the second.
okay. Go
All
ahead.
right, you, Dale, you want to
Yeah, I-
withdraw your motion? And
Let's just withdraw the motion and then we'll start with a new one.
and you need to withdraw your second.
Withdraw.
Okay, now I'll entertain a new motion.
How do we- You go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to waive the penalties that she's been given, and you're okay with $500 a month? Then
Yes.
you're caught up.
I am.
And no further penalties or interest or anything on the outstanding bill.
I would just also ask that the board take into account that, again, we probably would not have had this last situation had we had that meter, which we've been told that we would have when we had the last incident. Well, so this $10,000 would probably not have occurred because it would have had the alerts to say, hey, you got 1 million gallons of water coming through your place.
I guess my question at this point is, how long of a time has the bill been normal? The last time it was
Just 1 month.
1 month.
just 1 month.
I want to clarify that you said remove all of the fees, the late fees, correct?
The
Right.
penalties that she's
All of the
given.
penalties.
Moving forward.
You said,
Well, you had a couple of months back.
Right, we're gonna waive the 2 high penalties previous before this agreement
And
and all penalties until the past due is paid.
Correct.
Yes, I got that down.
okay.
Okay,
That helps you a little bit.
Absolutely.
got all that?
I don't have a second. I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
Excuse me, would you repeat the motion, please?
I can try.
Okay.
I have Kathy do it, I don't have all of it.
Okay, we are going to waive the 2 previous months' large penalties that were applied.
Okay.
We are then marking her account penalty exempt until the past due amount of you've got my sheet.
39, some change.
So the past due amount of $39.5502 is paid. She's gonna pay her current bill plus $200 a month until that $39.55 is paid in full.
One question, within the 3951, are those 2 excessive fees so that?
Yeah,
Okay, I just
yeah,
want to.
those are included in that, so that will reduce that. I just don't have that figure for
Sure.
you right at the
Okay.
moment.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone understand? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those nay. Motion passes. So,
Discussion, one other
coming
thing. I think it might be helpful if Scott, I don't know if there's a gray space for you, but when there is a question of a leak, the meter can't be changed out until it's been resolved, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
So that's,
But it was resolved. I mean, it went back down in January.
Yeah, it went back down and then it went back up.
Yeah, and then it went back up. So a new trap primer that had not been capped off blew up. You know, so it was stable when we were talking about changing out the meter.
all right.
That new one would have been, you know, obviously on our radar screen at that point. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in. Okay, item number 2 under new business, request for approval for soil borings for Phase 2 water system improvements. Entertain a motion that we approve the soil borings.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Scott has already spoke to this. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those nay. That is approved. Account adjustments. We have one account adjustment. Request for 5958
Twickenham.
what's it?
Twickenham.
Twickenham Drive, requesting a sanitary sewer adjustment for 42510 due to an outside spigot leak. Entertain a motion that we approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions? I might mention here that the difference between this and what we were talking about previously is that this is an adjustment on just the sewer portion of the bill for water that ever went into the sewer.
Correct.
So we do not have to pay the City of Indianapolis for treatment of this water, and that's the reason we're able to make this adjustment.
Correct.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Remonstration of ratepayer dispute regarding disconnect notice. I don't believe we have any. Citizens' comments? Do not have any. Entertain a motion that we adjourn.
We adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.